Hello, my name is April. I live in San Anselmo in Tam House 2. I've been there for a little over 3 years. I've lived in Marin County before in the early 90s for 5 years, from 94 to 99 actually. So more than mid to late. And I lived in Woodacre for the first 2 years with two other artists. I was in a class at graduate class at San Francisco State, and at the time I lived in Oakland, and I had a problem there where I lived. I was mugged basically at gunpoint, so I wanted to make a change because I was traveling in and out, and it happened in front of my home at night. And my writing teacher suggested I consider Woodacre, which I hadn't even heard of, and there she knew of a house where they were looking for a third housemate, two artists, and so I came over. She came with me. We looked at it. I ended up living in Woodacre for 2 years, and then I moved to Fairfax. I felt like I went a little too far, having to go past White's Hill. So I moved to Fairfax and lived there for 3 years, and then moved back. Then moved to Berkeley, and as I aged and heard about a communal living situation during the pandemic. I'd heard about it before, but it really piqued my interest at that time because I was feeling really isolated in Berkeley in a cottage in the backyard. So I decided check it out, and I ended up over here.
Tell me more about what the positives are around kind of the living situation and combating that isolation that you mentioned.
Well, I'm not isolated anymore. I have quite a number of housemates. It's been a challenge, but it's a good challenge. It's different being alone. When you're alone, you can do pretty much what you want. When you live alone, you can wash dishes when you feel like it or not wash them or whatever. So living with other people, of course, there are ways you have to compromise, and I'm kind of seen as pretty neat, and because I respond well to responsibilities. I was the oldest. I'm the oldest daughter of the oldest daughter of the oldest daughter. But I'm not naturally a neatnik, but I could appear to be that way because I'm considerate and thoughtful when it comes to public space more than personal space. So we've had, you have challenges because people have issues, people have baggage, and I'm no exception to that. And you learn a lot about yourself, when you have to deal with other people. So I've grown as a result of having housemates. It hasn't always been easy, but there have been ups and downs, and I don't regret it at this point. We'll see at this point. Yeah. The good times have outweighed the bad, we'll put it that way. And it's a good opportunity in terms of being able to have resources because there are a number of people to share than if you were by myself. In other words, it would have been it was more expensive as my income has gone down.
I'm gonna jump in I think that our microphone trick backfired now. It's rub it on your shirt, and so I'm gonna clip it back onto your shirt the classic way.
Okay.
Don't mind.
No, I don't. It's fine. So you can cut. You're an editor, right?
I am.
Obviously, you wouldn't do this.
But it was just like rub it on.
No, it's good. So
that's why we got two of those. The
backup. You'll get the rub out. Yeah.
Okay. Good to go.
Okay.
So I'd love to hear that again, just around the resources and being able to have more support.
Yes, as we age and we need more resources usually. A lot of times where people are more fixed income, my income is not this. I'm not in my prime income years, and so it's really been helpful financially to have an affordable place to live in such a beautiful area. And there are other resources that we have with communal food and just even not having to buy certain things like detergent, having a washer and dryer right there. So it's like we can live on a higher level, so to speak, because we're living communally than living alone. It's not that affordable to have your own place. Yes. So that's kind of one of the upsides.
And then how about any challenges that you faced living in our community as an older adult, as a Black woman, that you'd like to share?
Well, I just feel like sometimes they're internal because I worry about, I question whether I should be here or not. I'm not part of my community, so to speak. I feel like I'm not I don't have representative people around me, and so it is very different, and sometimes I do feel isolated. I haven't met with a lot of hostility or hardly any. I had one incident with young kids that where I was taunted, but in general, people are either neutral or friendly. So it's a good community overall. It's just different, different cultural background. So I'm not part of that. I don't feel as part of it. And maybe less so than when I was even in Fairfax, because Fairfax was hipper. I'm sorry, but it's true. And I was younger. I was in my 40s instead of my 60s. And so I felt more involved in the community. And that's one of the things I have to cope with, feeling like maybe I'm not really that much a part of this community. It's a wealthy community. It's a white community. And that's a concern. And yet I'm told by, you're lucky to be here, that kind of thing by certain people, friends.
Sure. What would it look
A
like?
friend.
What would it look like for you to feel more included in the town of San Anselmo? What could that look like?
Well, I think I'd probably have to be more involved in groups, organizations. I go back and forth to the East Bay more lately. And when I go to Berkeley, or I lived in Oakland a long time, I lived in Berkeley as well. And they're people that I kind of can relate to better. And we talk about more political issues or things that are ongoing. It doesn't mean that doesn't exist here to some degree, but I'm just not involved in it. And it doesn't exist to the same degree. Let's keep it real. No.
Appreciate that. You talked a little bit outside just about your experience as kind of maybe presenting younger, or about some of the impatience that you feel from others. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I've noticed that I've slowed down. My reflexes are not the same as they used to be. I'm more cautious. I didn't grow, when I was younger, much younger, I didn't worry about slipping and falling. I feel good that it's been a year and a half since I've fallen. And I wasn't falling all the time, but I fell on near Halloween a year ago. And with the uneven pavement, they were doing construction nearby. And so I'm more cautious, and I have noticed sometimes when I am cautious or slow about things that sometimes people are impatient a little bit, like get that, or go ahead, hurry up, or what are you doing? And I think maybe they might think I'm just taking my time and being slow because I'm inconsiderate, because they may not even perceive me to be as old as I am or older. And maybe they would be kinder if they thought, oh, little old lady. Well, little, no, but a little, whatever. So I'm not sure. You don't know. They could just be rude people. But for the most part, people are nice here. They're friendly. They're nice. They're thoughtful. But there are exceptions, and there are times when people are impatient. And I think that sometimes as an older person, I feel like they're kind of communicating that you're not center stage anymore. This is a very youth-oriented culture. You're not that important. You're kind of in the way. Sometimes I get that feeling a little bit, even though there are a lot of seniors in the area. And I did say, because I can pass for younger, that maybe sometimes people just think I'm taking my sweet time. But it was funny in San Andronicos recently. I went to the wine. This guy was letting people sample wine. And he insisted on an ID. I said, I know you're not serious. Are you seriously asking me for an ID? He said, I have to do it. It's my job. I'm like, oh, brother. I said, here, don't look too hard or something. He looked at it. He said, I don't have to put my nose in. He goes, you're beautiful. He was probably saying you're beautiful because I thought, for your age or something. He said, you're beautiful. like, wow. So I think he meant it as a compliment in his way, but.
Did you take it as a compliment?
Kinda.
I got the in-between one. They just looked at it and they go, wow. And I was like, I don't know which way that goes.
Yeah, he was.
Like, you think I'm too young or too old? Which
No,
one is
he felt like, I think he thought, you're beautiful for your age. This one guy told me that at work one time in Maria. He said, you're beautiful for your age. And I think that's kind of like, ooh, I thought you, I didn't know you were in your 60s. I thought you were 50 or something, pushing 50, that kind of thing, or 50 something, not 60 something. It's like, that's what I took it as.
So it sounds like to get real community, you're often going outside of Marin to connect. Would you say that's true?
Yes, I would say that's true. Yes. I mean, I'm not in touch with the people that I knew in Fairfax at one time, except on Facebook. And someone wanted to do a Thanksgiving, and it didn't ever happen, and we haven't connected. But generally speaking, I do have to leave. I do have to cross the bridge.
Is that because of certain activities or because of culture?
Everything.
All of it.
And it's just, it is what it is. But I work over here, so. But the people I work with generally don't live in Marin. The vast majority don't. Because it's a blue-collar industry more. Not everyone's blue-collar. Some people are managers, so, but in general.
Is there anything else you wanted to share that we didn't hit on?
Well, I think that one of the things that draws me to Marin and to San Anselmo, or this area, is just so beautiful. I like nature, natural beauty, and it's just gorgeous. It has good weather, and it's safe. Sometimes I get off of work. I work seasonally. I come home late. Sometimes I get off at midnight, and I'm not going to continue to work forever. I'm going to retire perhaps this year, but I get off at midnight, 12:30. Come home. It's safe to come in, so that's big.
Well, especially with your past experience, I'm sure that really made safety even more important.
I was traumatized. I had a gun pressed to my head, so yes. A friend and I were robbed together, and it was at night, and it was, I was being called a bitch this, bitch do that. It was I had to watch my life go in front of my eyes, so you never get over that totally.
Yeah, safety is really important.
Yes. Don't make me cry. Barbara Walters, don't make me cry.
Let me zoom in real quick.
And I will say I did love Oakland, so.
Oakland's cool. I
hella loved Oakland at the time. I didn't have any, and I still have a place in my heart, so I don't base my experience, even though it's not isolated, I'm not saying that, but I didn't base my experience on how I feel about Oakland.
Yeah, and terrible things happen everywhere.
True.
Yeah.
I grew up in San Geronimo. Some crazy stuff happened out there too.
I used to ride my bike out there. And the funny thing I'll tell you, if you want to put it on there, when I moved from Oakland to Woodacre, the moving people were surprised. They said, well, you moved because they went from Oakland to, and not that I didn't live in a rough part of Oakland, I was by the lake, but still, Oakland versus Woodacre. And so they said, well, you have our card. If you change, we'll give you a discount if you turn around and want to go back. Because we're like, look at it. And I was like thinking, well, we'll see how this works out. Because there was a contrast.
The raccoons aren't that dangerous.
No, but the deer are out there and horses, so it was cool in a way.
My brother hit a deer on his bike in the middle of the night. Teenagers riding their bike down railroad.
I lived on railroad.
Yeah, so it's cold, right? His arms inside his shirt. It's like 10 o'clock at night. It's dark. It's straight hit a deer and over the handlebars. There's like hands inside like that.
Oh,
so it could be a little dangerous.
It was dangerous. I was trying to go up the stairs because we had a side entrance, and I parked, and there were wooden stairs to go up, and the deer was there, and I'm like, just let me go, you stay there, I'm going here. But no, the deer's going to come and cut me off, and then I'm like, if you could stay there or go that way, I'm just going up here. But no, the deer comes running through I'm like, we could have worked this out.
Yeah, you got to let them go, they're too big.
And I had to backpedal because I'm thinking, just let me go.
Before we cut, I'm going to do one last quick introduction. You're just going to essentially look to camera, just tell us your name, who you are, right? And hold it. All right, good to go.
Hi, my name is April. I live in San Anselmo in TAM 2 house, a communal house for elders. And I moved here a little over 3 years ago. I've lived in Marin before. I lived in Fairfax and Woodacre. First, I moved from Oakland to Woodacre in 1994, and I stayed in Marin for 5 years. I moved after 2 years from Woodacre to Fairfax. I lived in Fairfax for 3 years. Then I moved to Berkeley, and then I ended up moving here recently.
Cool. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.